My mom told me that if I ever wanted to work in a certain environment, that I probably shouldn't make this video. And you know what? She's probably right. Jobs find us at our most vulnerable. This is because society is able to condition us into two distinct categories. The first category I want to call the dreamer category. These are the people who are convinced that by getting a job, they can achieve their dreams. This can appear as luxuries, vacation, material, a big house with a white picket fence, the whole shebang. With money, we could transcend the financial pitfalls that we may have had during childhood. We could make something better for ourselves. We set our dreams to these ideas. Non-dreamers fall into a second category that I'm gonna call the dead broke category. These are the people who are convinced that money will somehow help them escape their current financial instability. You may have lost parents or a partner as your financial support. You may just be in the poorest period of your life, needing basic necessities but being unable to afford them. We're convinced that money can help us out of our situation, whatever it may be. It is in this state of vulnerability, whether you're hungry for purpose or struggling to survive, that jobs swoop in and declare themselves necessary. Whether you're a dreamer broke or a dreamer turned dead broke, jobs have just the solution for you. Because jobs can position themselves as a solution to your problems, as money often is, they get to define what a solution looks like. That could be minimum wage or slightly above minimum wage, so you can't complain, but you also can't leave.
I just want to correct myself and say that jobs don't necessarily have to be paying a little bit higher than minimum wage to still be underpaying people. Many people work higher paying jobs and still have to work paycheck to paycheck.
Because the job market is brutal, which they know, and most people don't have many options, which employers also know, they can set high standards for their applicants. This standard is the perfect candidate, which has no relation to who you are, but rather how you can be used. The perfect candidate has a 4-year degree, 3 to 5 years of experience, is creative but also analytical, is an expert in this, that, and the third, and on top of that, is ready to sacrifice their life and their agency and their autonomy in favor of a company's bottom line. So you show up to the job interview, determined to prove that you're the perfect candidate. You've told little white lies in your resume, but that doesn't really matter because the perfect applicant they're looking for is already a fictional character to begin with. You say that you're dedicated to a fault, and that your biggest weakness is that you work too hard. The employer really likes you because they really need someone who could be dedicated to their cause. Then they hit you with the question, so why do you want this job? And it's not like you can sit here and say, well, you know, after college, I'm $100,000 in debt and I really need to start paying it off. You can't say, I've applied to 200 other jobs and you're the only one that called me back. The interviewer doesn't want your honest answer, and you know that. So instead, you tell the interviewer that the company's mission statement aligns with your personal values and that their commitment and growth thus far inspires you. You asked ChatGPT last night how you score a job, and they said that mentioning your impact and how you'll help the company grow was really important, so you're sure to mention that too. Companies will sell you this idea of your one true, only purpose. They'll use buzzwords like expansion and making a difference to match the impact you just previously spoke of. They'll say, we're a family here, and they'll sell you all these ideas of benefits you'll get while on the team in exchange for your sanity. This is when employers reel you in and entice you on the idea that they're choosing you for your talent and not for your willingness to comply. So you take the job offer, enticed by all these benefits. This is when the abuse starts.
A lot of people are losing hope in the American dream.
I can't work a 9-to-5 job.
I am literally crying at my desk 3 to 4 days out of the week.
It feels like I'm in an abusive relationship.
Unless you love the 9-to-5 model, it won't take long before reality sets in and you start not really loving the job. You wake up tired, you get ready tired, you commute tired. Mind you, the commute can take an hour and you're not getting paid for that. You do what's required of you, whether it's sedentary work or manual labor, and you convince your brain to just keep going, just continue going, just continue the grind. Around 2 p.m., you check the clock and you're like,
it's still not 5 yet?
And then you have to will yourself to continue to the end. You commute back home tired. Then you settle in, you eat, you watch that TikTok that spirals into several TikToks, fall asleep, just to get up and repeat that all over again. Your paychecks aren't justifying the amount of time and energy that the job demands of you. You realize there isn't really any purpose to your work. And then on top of that, you realize that you aren't worth any more than the net value that it costs to keep you and the amount you're earning for the company. And then on top of that, you realize that your work family hates it here as much as you do. But instead of admitting that there are fundamental issues with the system and its incompatibility with human well-being, the system will come in and gaslight you. The system will tell you that you're the problem. Have you tried not being tired? Maybe you need more caffeine in you. Feeling unfulfilled? That's just evidence of your lack of initiative. Barely making rent? You're just bad with money. Have you tried budgeting? So if you're hating your job, the system isn't broken. You are. They'll say work-life balance is what you make of it, but work takes up your entire day and it drains all of your energy. So by the time you come home, there isn't a life left to live. The APA found that 77% of workers experienced work-related stress in the past month. But either way, none of these facts matter because in the end of the day, jobs need you to believe that you're the problem and that your unhappiness at work is your fault.
Now get back to work.
Why am I helping you?
Because I'm manipulating you. That's the way I get people to do things for me.
So I have to pose a question. If the problem is you, why did they hire you in the first place? Because surely on your resume, in between the 4 years of schooling and then the 3 to 5 years of additional experience that they need before they even give you a chance, it would have spelled out how lazy and unmotivated you are. But it didn't, because you aren't. But again, the higher-ups need you to believe that you're the problem, because that way they can continue exploiting you. One of the textbook tactics of an abusive relationship is isolation. If an abuser can cut you off from your family, friends, and other support systems, etc., then they make you fully dependent on them to achieve certain needs. Work, in this sense, becomes your entire world. Work is responsible for your support, your emotional well-being, your social well-being, and more. 9-to-5 structure is able to achieve this by sucking every last sense of energy you had in your body by the time you get home.
I'm so burnt out from work that even on the weekends, I do not feel like I am resting.
I don't think people understand having an office job is one of the most mentally exhausting jobs you can ever have. It is so draining. By the time you get home, you don't want to talk or even socialize.
You start canceling plans, you stop engaging in your hobbies. And on the off days, those measly off days they give you in the week, you spend it bed rotting because you literally have no energy and you need to recuperate after the week. Your coworkers become your only friends. The company doesn't just want your labor, they also want your social life. Because if they have both your labor and your social life, and they're responsible for the roof over your head, it makes it so much harder to leave. The more dependent you are on them, the more they could keep you, and the more they could fearmonger you with the potential loss of your job to keep you hooked and to keep you working harder. This is an abusive system. A job can make it so that you lose more than just your paycheck by walking away. There are many people who have clocked this, so much so that jobs are starting to catch on. Workplace love bombing. What I refer to as workplace love bombing are the efforts that a job will take to make sure that you feel welcomed and loved and cared for, so that you feel like you're being ungrateful for questioning the system and for feeling miserable at work. These can show up as Friday pizza parties, free break room snacks, bar after work, so that you can associate your job with on any other given day makes you miserable, you could consider it with those pockets of happiness that they embed in little by little. I don't know why I was doing all that with my hands. For some companies, there are genuine good intentions when they put these initiatives in place. But given the pre-existing structure of how the system works, it can also be a form of abuse. In a sense, it's compensation for being paid a wage that doesn't adequately keep up with inflation. Instead of giving you what you actually want and actually need to enjoy your time at work, which would be, I don't know, a higher wage, a livable wage, more PTO, more staff so you don't feel overwhelmed. Jobs will deflect with these mindfulness, team bonding-esque events and benefits. By giving you a benefit to cope with stress that they are causing, they are creating cognitive dissonance. Instead of being like,
I hate my job, I can't wait to quit, I want to quit so bad,
they'll be like, yeah, but like, my job, they give me free coffee, and they give me free food, and, like, I should be grateful because they're paying me to be here, and like, if they weren't paying me to make, like, maybe I should just deal with it, because I think I'm being ungrateful, like, the job did so much for me because they care about me, and through these initiatives, they've shown that they care about me. Right? By implementing these love bombing strategies, jobs are, maybe indirectly, putting the blame of your miserableness at work on you. By adding these resources, it's as if they're saying, if you don't use these resources, well then, like, why are you complaining? Because we put these resources so that you could cope better. I do want to be fair, because some companies may be implementing these strategies so that they can make work more fun for their employees. But when it's compared against the already abusive cycle of the system, it just adds more. On the flip side, it could also be seen as very abusive and manipulative. The abuse is able to continue because love bombing keeps everybody just placated enough to keep going.
This current job that I'm in is driving me crazy.
I got laid off yesterday.
I don't see myself being at a job, trying to wait to get a raise, trying to do this.
And I am sad, I am scared.
How the fuck can anyone afford to live?
If I'm not basically there every single fucking day, my paycheck is gonna be weak.
There's no safety in your job, my G.
I don't think about Americans' financial situation. I don't think about anybody.
If I haven't kept my anger in check, you may have noticed me get increasingly heated as I talk about this topic, and that's because I am. I find it sick that companies have convinced people that they are worth no more than the amount of money they can give to a company. People contemplate living because what jobs offer now does not offer you access to live a life, it offers you access to exist, and that's not the same thing as living. Americans are struggling to afford essentials like food, childcare, housing, and energy, and many don't expect their situation to improve. With this, it's reasonable to assume that most people can't even afford what they like, want, enjoy, etc. We've been conditioned to just accept the fact that we can only afford the smaller things in life. And while I don't agree with overconsumption, I think that a job should get you closer to access things that you actually want. It shouldn't just be a means of wasting your time just so you can afford to eat. Mind you, that in exchange to what? Live? We're giving our talent, knowledge, and commitment to the workplace. These are very valuable things that we have to give to companies so what? We can clothe ourselves? Are you serious? And the worst part is, we're kept completely powerless in this situation because we need income to survive. I mention this because it's not feasible for most people to up and quit their jobs. Again, this is why the abuse cycle continues to churn and churn and churn indefinitely. We are the most technologically advanced we have ever been in human history, but somehow, some way, we're still chained to our jobs, barely able to afford rents. Like, what's going on? It seems like companies are only concerned with expanding and enriching themselves and enriching their owners and investors, etc., but they don't really care about the little guy, the workers, the blue-collar workers at the fast food joint. They don't care about them. But if all of them decide to quit tomorrow, the world will be in shambles. People still need to get their 6 a.m. Dunkin' after all. If we can't even meet the threshold of existing, how can we live our lives? Remember, we're only given one life. Like, this is really what bothers me. We're only given one life. And society has conditioned us into believing it's not important enough. Because if it was important to society, we wouldn't spend most of our lives working or stressing about work or stressing about money and how we're going to feed ourselves at night. My takeaway from all of this is simply that we shouldn't have the 9-to-5 model as our only outlet to survival for the future. First of all, not everybody is built for 9 to 5. Like I said, there are some people who enjoy 9 to 5. But I still feel like it is an abusive trap, and we shouldn't see a trap as our only future. We are worth more than what we can provide a company. There's no point in existing a lifetime. We deserve to live one. Thank you for watching. Like if this video resonated with you and leave a comment to continue the conversation. I'll see you all in the next one. Bye!